Welcome to the Peterson's Bowhunting Podcast. All bow hunting, all the time. Now, here's your host, editor Christian Berg.
All right, welcome back to the Bowhunting Podcast. We're all bow hunting all the time, and today we're all saddle hunting all the time. I've got Mr. Shawn Ferguson from Trophy Line and Mr. Nick Betts from Trophy Line. They have a really cool new saddle, and I am excited to talk about it. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
What's up? Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing probably almost as good as you guys are. Shawn's on vacation, so he's doing the best out of the three of us. He's coming joining us for a podcast on vacation.
Doesn't mean I work any less.
Well, that's probably true. And when you've got a hot new product, you're probably all working overtime because you guys just came out with the Vanatic Saddle. I'm the first kid on my block to have one. This just showed up over the weekend. I have not had a chance to get up in a tree with it, but this is a really cool saddle, kind of different immediately after taking it out of the box. But let's start with first things first, the Venatic. What does the name mean, and where'd you guys come up with that?
Well, like any new product we come up with, it's we try to come up with a name that fits it, and I literally keep a note on my phone of names. I got hundreds of them. You can ask Nick, and that's probably the hardest part to do is really come up with a name for a product. Because when you come up with a really good one, you start doing research and you realize, it's already taken for something else. And so we, actually one of our ambassadors, right, Nick, came up with the name at a TAC event last year. Was it this year? I can't remember when we finally pulled the trigger on it.
We were sitting around at an event with one of our ambassadors and just spitballing names, trying to get his idea of what we would say. And he just set his beer down. He said, "What do you think about this?" And all of us are like, you know what, we got to run with that. So Venatic was born from that. And, it really just means of the hunt and to be
kind of fond of or living by hunting. So it was perfect. It's kind of a perfect fit.
It fits perfectly. Yeah.
Gotcha. I never heard the word, but I didn't realize it's an actual word.
Yeah, it is actual word, right?
Yep.
Because if you would have put a gun to my head and say, what does it mean? I'm like, I don't know. I think it's probably short for venison fanatic.
Yeah.
Well, that works too. We're also venison fanatics. So it works out.
Hey, that's a new meaning. We're going to add that to it. We'll add that to the Webster Dictionary on it. But it was perfect fitting for it. And so we're excited about it.
Well, I'm excited about it. Last year I hunted in your covert light, and I really enjoyed that, had good success. And it's hard to imagine, what this new saddle's going to have that I didn't already have, because I really enjoyed that. But I'm sure there's a bunch of upgrades. So, let's talk about it. It's funny, before we started the show, I said the first thing I noticed when I just literally pulled this thing out of the box, I put my hands on the waistband here, and this inner waistband is like rubberized. You can feel that. And, the first thing I was thinking is that's really going to like grab probably your outerwear. And so is that designed to give like a more stable or, a fit where the saddle isn't going to move on your body?
Exactly. Both things, from moving up or down, or actually your hunting apparel moving up or down in it. And let me step back a little bit. We, the covert light is such a staple piece for us. It's a piece we'll have for a very long time, because it fits a really good price point, and there's a lot of value there for it. And so when we went to work on a new saddle, we wanted to make it in the United States. And it's easier said than done when you want to build lots of them and, decent volume and hit a certain price point. Cause we know it, there's that balance, right? So if you're going to raise the retail, you got to bring value to it. You got to get something for it. But just building things in the United States just costs more, at the end of the day. Then you have your challenges of getting components and then being able to, the ability to keep up with that demand. So we did a lot of research on there. We asked a lot of people, and actually a person that we work with dipped into his past, and we ended up meeting a manufacturer in Florida. And we probably talked to half dozen to 8 manufacturers, but these people we end up going to visit, and we knew we were in the right place when we got there. They do a little bit of military stuff, but they do lots and cut and sew for a bunch of different companies, especially the industrial world. And I think it's 150 sewers, I believe they have. It's cool because it was a 35-year-old. It is a 35-year-old family business, and there's actually a lot of employees there that've been there the entire time. So again, we kind of knew we were at the right place. But so so when we started getting into it, we mind you, this is going back to January of 2021 when we really kind of started talking about a new saddle. And as we got more into it, we knew we were going to tap into somebody. We were actually good friends with Matthew Tompkins over TX5, and he and I always throw ideas out to each other, text each other. So I actually looked it up the other day. It was April 3rd, 2021, when I texted him like, "Hey, you got a minute to talk? I want to run something by you." And so we just actually started throwing some ideas around, some stuff that we were thinking about, some stuff that he was thinking about. And we just knew we wanted to come out with something different. We knew we wanted to be super lightweight, super strong, super Comfortable, and made in the USA. And I didn't want to break that $300 mark. But you're jumping up $100 from a Cobra Light to the Venatic. We knew we got to give you a lot of bells and whistles, features, things like that are useful, not just, pretty from the outside, And so with myself, Nick, and Matthew, and then a couple other people on the team, we just kind of got to work. We made a bunch of notes, and Matthew did some stuff that he was been talking about. So that's kind of really how that started to morph. And it's just like anything. I mean, here we're sitting here, it's July 2022, and we just launched this thing. So you can see how long it takes just, trying different products, making samples, tweaking back and forth. And then, like us, our model is we always like to have a decent amount on hand when we turn it on, when we launch it. We never like to pre-order, pre-sell anything. We don't like to take people's money and have to make them wait for months to get products. So we kind of build that into it. And so it was, you start going down the features of it. The one feature that you talked about was the rubberized inside. And we get a lot of our information just from listening to our consumer, whether people are emailing us, texting us, phone calling, looking at the forums, you name it. And we take that to heart, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, at the end of the day, it's going to make our product better in the future. And that, I think that's actually one of the products we talked about. One of the things that came up was, I think we saw it in one of the forums where people were talking about, their clothes riding up or down, not so much in the early season, but maybe later in the season when you got a lot more clothes on. So we knew we wanted to figure a way to just add a little to it, because it's not a lot. It's just a coating to it, and it's just enough to keep things in place. When you put that on, it has a belt that you're able to move that freely through it. So you can center your belt buckle right in the middle, like a lot of people do. Some people like it off to the side. Me personally, I like it in the middle, but that gives you the ability to put it wherever you want. And when you cinch that down with that rubber backing on it, it just holds it in place. So if you like it above your belt, below your belt, or over top of your belt, it's going to stay.
I probably ought to back up and ask the first question.
Yeah.
I guess saddle guys are always going to want to know is how much does it weigh, right? And how does that compare to your other saddles? Because every ounce counts more with some than others.
Sure.
So that saddle there in your hands, including the rope bridge and carabiner that comes with it, is 30 ounces. So that is over a pound lighter than the covert that you were hunting out of last year.
Oh, wow. I'm going to be able to go an extra 30 yards from the truck now.
Well,
this world, everybody counts ounces.
Yeah, ounces do matter, but a lot of it too is about keeping the saddle in position as you're doing that movement, right? So the rubberized waistband, the adjustable waist belt, and then just it being lighter as you go into the woods, it will stay in position for you better. The lighter it is, you're wearing an item in just like a standard fall rest harness. You're not really going to feel that weight too much, but it just depends on how that little extra bit you want to stay comfortable as you're walking in and out of the woods.
Oh yeah. And
you'll get that extra 30 yards easily.
That's something that I noticed in all seriousness last fall. You've got maybe a couple of accessory pouches on your saddle and you wear it in and it is really convenient. But sometimes, like you said, if the saddle starts to sag down a little bit, or sometimes you just have to stop. I do anyway, probably because I'm fat. I have to stop and like retighten the waist belt sometimes, because I think as you're walking along, it just starts to loosen up and then the whole thing kind of starts to come down on your hips and it's not as secure. So yeah, anything like that rubberized that might hold it up there a little bit better, it will make it probably, more comfortable and easy walking in with the gear on.
Yeah, a lot of times too, like if I have long walks, I'll actually pull the belt up over my normal belt on my pants and cinch it just so then it holds it. And then when I get to the base of the tree, I make adjustment to it. And then I always keep mine like right over, the same place where my belt is, right over top of it. So it's just a little things like that help.
So a couple other things here, and you've got the Male loops, top and bottom, sort of traditional, but you've got this additional set here. And again, this is made out of some kind of a rubberized material. It's a little bit of a different shape. Talk to me about this, what your thought process was of why you included this and what exactly you think this offers in functionality, usefulness versus, just a more your standard type webbing.
Well, we just wanted to make it look a little different. A lot of the saddles on the market all have the very similar, nylon webbing, sewn Molly on there. And actually the guy we work with at the manufacturer came up actually with that fabric. It's called Hypalon. Super strong, super durable. Like you there's no stretch to it. You can try all you want. But we really like that look and feel to it. So it just gives a little bit different appearance on the outside, but you'll actually see we're actually going to utilize that material on some other things coming out in the future. So it kind of ties into future plans of some stuff we're coming out with. Just gives it a little different look to Molly, and instead of just square nylon, right? Well, so it's kind of an hourglass cut.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing that honestly, even as I'm just kind of holding it here and looking at it, that I like about it, if you have to get anything on or off your Molly loops without looking at it, or especially if you're in a bit of an awkward position in the tree, it can sometimes be hard to get any slack under these loops to slide anything in there. But this material almost has a little bit of memory or rigidity to it, and it holds itself away from the surface of the saddle. Like you could slide a carabiner through there really easily without having to fumble around with it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the touch and feel of knowing where you're at, you know, the difference between the tight nylon molly and then the rigid molly right below that. And then you're right, it stays open so you can do those things where you're adding a quick clip. Maybe you're hanging a climbing stick or your platform or anything off the back of your saddle. You have easier feel without having to reach around or try to look and see what you're doing. You can do it much quicker with your hands, having those two separate materials that are really obvious.
Since you're looking at the back of the saddle there and seeing how easy it is to go in and out of that hypalon, there's a piece of webbing at the bottom of the saddle that's extra. So when you're talking about walking in and out of the woods, if you just loosen up your leg straps, you can actually hook that onto the hypalon, right? And that way it keeps your saddle up out of the way. So when you're walking in, it's not riding down under your butt. You know, one thing about our saddle, cool. So one thing about our saddles is, you know, we like them to be taller and a little wider. So when you make it a little bit taller, you give a better lower back support, and then, you know, cups underneath your butt, which makes it just a nice, you know,
makes it a better choice again
just
for
more
people
comfortable,
who have
right?
fat asses like I do. That's going to be your go-to.
Exactly. And so, but walking in and out, you know, sometimes, you know, it's tucked under your butt, makes it a little bit more difficult. You can still do it, but we're trying to figure a way to, how do you minimize that? So if you just loosen up your leg straps a little bit and you pull this tab up and clip it right into that, it just gets it up out of the way just enough, you know, and then when you get to your spot, you unhook it, you're ready to go. So something super easy, you know, like that. It's about the little things.
I was wondering what that thing was for, so I'm glad that came up. Yeah.
Yeah, once you try it on, the key too is you don't necessarily need to keep your leg straps tight, right? I keep mine loose, and so when you keep those loose like that, it's really easy to hook, you know. And like to your point, you can do it without looking behind your back, you know, with that hypalon molly, you got it's bubbled out, so you can easily put that hook inside there and not have to look. So.
Well, let's keep on moving through because I want to hit on. There's probably more, but this fabric that you actually have made the panel of the saddle out of is super lightweight. It's very thin. You know, again, I think to me it looks like a ripstop nylon. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean that's got to weigh literally an ounce. You know what I mean? The entire panel.
Yeah, it's extremely lightweight, extremely strong. We actually do an unfinished version. So if you put a finish on it, it will make it noisy. So we do an unfinished. So that, you know, when you're walking and things like that, there's no noise to it. I know there are probably some concerns to some hunters, but there isn't. So because we do it unfinished, and then. You know, it's basically a very similar material as like a parachute or even some hammock materials that are out there. Super lightweight, super
honestly,
compact.
No, I'm showing my age. Nick won't know what this is, but Shawn, you and I will. It made me think of my old parachute pants from the 80s.
Oh, geez. You're going to bust an old pair out and put them on now.
I tell you, I'm going to bring a pair to our hunt in Kentucky. I am going to hunt in my parachute pants and the new Vanatic saddle, and I'll kill the biggest buck in camp.
You have to now.
Make sure they're red, like Michael
really
Jackson's parachute pants.
Yeah, the red was the color, man. Absolutely.
It'll be perfect. They'll match our logo.
All right, you got it. I guess stuff. I don't really have any anymore, but I'll have to get on Google. I'm sure you can find some vintage parachute pants.
Oh, there's got to be a camo pair out there for you.
Actually, I think I've seen like new camouflage versions on like Wish. You ever go on Wish? You know, like AliExpress. Yeah, all that stuff. Oh, they've got them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I might get a whole set. Just tell me how many pairs I need and everybody's size.
Too funny.
All right, so what else do we have going on here?
Well, moving back around, I go back to the belt, the front belt buckle.
Oh, the front belt buckle.
Yep, the waist one. You see that little rubber loop on your left hand right there? Do you see where?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's another Hypalon loop right here.
Correct.
Yep, exactly. So that's actually the bridge garage, we call it. So if you look here, when you're walking in, you can cinch your prusik, right, on your bridge down tight, and then you have all the excess rope left, right? So what you do is you fold it in half and you tuck it in your waistband so it stays up out of the way. And then when you get to your spot, you just pop it out and then, slide your bridge out and you're ready to go. So it's just a convenient place to keep your loose end. I know a lot of guys will tuck it in their pants or tuck it into the saddle itself. We just what if we came up with this little loop here? Like I said, we call it the bridge garage. Just pop it in there, and now it's up out of the way, and you're not tripping on it or it's getting in your way. So just something little, but it's extremely useful.
They say it's the little things that make the big difference, right? You guys are thinking of all the details here.
Yep, absolutely. And to catching on it there, we use all Raptor buckles, which are made in the United States, for the waist buckle and the leg buckles. Again, the whole, one of the goals coming out of this was all made in the United States. So anybody that's in saddle hunting knows the Raptor name. Super heavy duty, the military uses them. So that was important to us on there. And then probably, we stuck with our normal bridge. We love the size of it. We're also a big fan of disconnect. So we do it with a prusik and a black diamond carabiner. There's a lot of guys that like to be able to disconnect so they're not stepping through their bridge. There's other guys that, get rid of this piece, and connect the prusik right there. We give it to you. So it's if you want to change it out, that's great. If not, you have the ability to disconnect the bridge to your bridge loop and instead of stepping through it. It's a proven bridge that has worked great for, thousands and thousands of saddles that we have sold in the past. So but I'm sure some guys will try to put some lighter weight stuff on it, to make the saddle lighter. But look how lightweight it is already with when you're talking about that. It's that entire package. One of the other features, if you go around to it, is the lineman loops, right? Instead of being something very rigid and sewn on the same line as the top molly, we did, which basically are three inches apart. Very easy to find in the dark, but also has the ability, like if you bump into something, it folds away, and very, very strong, very, very durable still. Just again, something different. When you double up something, sometimes triple up something, being that where this is at, things get a little bit tighter and a little bit more durable on your hips. So this is just another way to ease or free up some of that thickness, bulkiness on the saddle itself.
Yeah, I like how, again, this is you can see how this has a little bit of form to it, and it's not, like you say, it's not under tension. If I put like stress on this, it's not closing this loop down. It's right. Independent of its fit on your body, and these loops are going to be here. You mentioned like easy to find in the dark, or even just even just honestly, when you're not looking, or if you're on a really big fat tree and you're hooking up and you can't really even see, or it's going to be right there. You're going to be able to find it just by sort of feel, or I like that. And you've got like some more of that rubberized coating on this material here.
I was just about to bring that up. So that's another, just like you're saying, you can feel it. So that Hypalon on top of the structural nylon helps it stay in that shape, but also you get that tacky feel. So when you throw the tag end of your lineman's rope around the tree, you can just reach back without looking, just like you said, and feel exactly where you need to be versus any other position on the saddle. So the rope, the bridge loops have a different feel than the lineman's loops. So just your body, naturally, you're going to be able to pick up on that much easier when you're going to do these things.
Yeah, it's funny because as you think, when I think about saddle hunting, I always think about how it's this community where everybody is a customizer and everyone is going to take whatever they buy off the shelf and go and, they change something, they cut something off, they add something on, they get different hardware, whatever. But, as the saddle community matures, as the product lines that are out there mature, that there's so much more refinement. A lot of these ideas that have happened over the last 10 years, have now been mainstreamed, and so many improvements have been made. It's like you're getting to the point now with products like this that you're so well thought out. I almost think it's the ultimate feather in your cap. You're probably going to start to hear from a lot more customers who are like, for the last 20 years, I always modded every single thing that I had. But like some of your new stuff, like this Vanatic Saddle, I'm honestly going to start just buying it and using it stock because it's got so many great features. There's not going to be as much that people need to change, it's not like the only option on the market anymore is like this clunky one size fits all product that everybody has to tailor for themselves.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Didn't even think about that. But people love to mod everything out. Like even when you get a brand new bow, people are changing the colors of the strings and this and that. So, but no, like that's an interesting point that you brought up there, though. That's when you look at when you look at the pouches that you can get, also, I know one of your bag there. I mean, the pouch itself, first of all, it will hold 2 tech core ropes or 8mm ropes with Prusik and carabiners or Kong ducks or what have you. But I mean, the pouch itself is 1.5 ounces. So, you can, if you don't need it, you can roll it up and put it in your pocket, or, you have the ability to keep two tech cores in there and very easily attach to the hook and ready to go. So, we set out to be light, to make the thing really light but we didn't set it out to be like, we didn't have an end game, to be ultra light, because a lot of times when you say light or ultra light to somebody, they think minimalist, right? Minimalist style. And we knew that we didn't want to go that route. We also, one thing that we're kind of known for is, how comfortable our saddles are. Again, taller than most and wider than most. And just at the end of the day, it just makes it more comfortable to sit in, especially longer sits. So, working our team here and working with Matthew, we felt really good how the outcome was. Nick, you want to get into maybe a little bit too of the style, the shape of it, how we, the overall, where we the kind of the what about thicker band around here. I think that's important to it.
So what we wanted to do, so there's, saddle hunting is, like you said, it's very personal. So there's a lot of people like single panels, a lot of people like double panels. And I'll be honest, we don't really want to get into the complexity of a 2-panel saddle just because it just ends up being more difficult than we wanted to venture in. So we thought, how do we make a single panel have the comfort of a double panel saddle? So what you see on the Venatic is there's a top band about 4 to 4.5 inches wide, and then the bottom is the same thing. So instead of it just being the outer frame, of the structural nylon. It's the outer frame of the structural nylon backed up by more material that makes it have that smaller panel feel. So when you have it on, it feels like a 2-panel, which offers a lot more comfort to some people. But it's just the simplicity of a single panel. So someone who's getting into saddle hunting, or maybe just doesn't feel as comfortable up in an elevated position with 2 separate panels dangling off them, now they get that comfort on one piece. And we want to just try to incorporate that, just like you said earlier, trying to make things simpler for people when they're out there in the woods. Solve those little frustrations, those things that would really bother them, eliminate those, and just make the whole hunt go better.
Yeah. And another thing that you guys talked about that I was interested in, you talked about this whole Made in America thing, and which I think is great. I think most people will think is great. And I'm wondering what your desire for that was. That in response to customer requests, or was it in response to what everybody who makes anything has experienced over the last couple of years with this pandemic and the supply chain, where not only might it be a good marketing a tool to say that we're making things here, but also although it might be more expensive, is there something to be said for, working with suppliers and manufacturers who are here, as opposed to trying to get things, halfway around the world at a time when you can't find, people to drive trucks or put containers on ships or all those sorts of things, not to mention how much more expensive those things have gotten.
It's a little bit of combination of all of the above there. One is, we make, platforms are made here in the United States. Our ropes are made here in the United States. So we wanted a saddle. So we kind of wanted a whole complete kit from that standpoint. Some of the things that we do have made overseas are, I'm literally working with small family-owned factories that I've been dealing with for almost 20 years, from my background. And so, so we get great quality. I think if you grab the Cobra or something like that, it's, if anything, we overbuild everything, super strong, great door, good stitching, the whole works, but we also knew that we wanted something to go along with the other products that were making in the United States. But we also knew we had to balance it, and when it comes to pricing, because as we all know, cost of everything is going up. Our components, daily costing is going up. Fuel is going up. So that all adds in. It's some things we tried to absorb. We tried to absorb as much as possible. In fact, when a USA made saddle, we actually make less on it than we do one of our other saddles that we make somewhere else. But we also knew, there's certain retails that work, across different products, doesn't matter what it is. And we knew we didn't want to break that $300 price point. It's there, people pay more, the made in the USA, but you got to give them features for it, right? So you got to it's not just, if it was just apples to apples and you upcharge, $50 or $100 more, it's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow for some people. But if, you jump to $100 more and you give them super lightweight, Hypalon, the how light it is, how strong it is, how comfortable it is, all the way down to the little details of the bridge garage, and then use USA made buckles, which, by the way, are the most expensive thing probably on, and when you're looking at it, anybody can look up how much Raptor buckles are, and we got 3 of them on there. It's almost half the cost of the entire thing. It just all adds up. So it's just, again, it's part of the trophy line package I felt like we were missing, and that we wanted to round out that part. And I think we nailed it. So now when you look at it, you can buy a USA made saddle from us, an all USA made platform from us. Our ropes are all USA made, so it's pretty cool. It's a great feeling. Plus, like, the people that we built this with, they never built a tree saddle before. They built industrial saddles before. So they thought it was cool. It was something different category for them. So they were all behind it. And it's just cool. It's a cool feeling,
When we do USA made projects too, we try to do, so all the materials sourced in the US down to even the box that it is shipped in. So absolutely everything we use on a USA product, platforms, sticks, the cam buckles, straps that go on our platforms and sticks, the ropes, everything that those are sent to you in, all the way down to that, is USA made. So if we're really saying that to you, it is 100% USA made, and we're dedicated to it. And like Shawn said, we just wanted to have that offering, one, because we wanted to offer it, but also, our customers do want that. We want to support American jobs. So this was a really fun project for us. We think we really hit it out of the park. And just really happy for a lot of people to get their butts in this Vanatic this year and get some big deer on the ground.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and what you guys are doing with that. And I'll tell you what I think is what I really appreciate. Shawn mentioned it earlier. When you guys launch a product, you actually have product for people to buy. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a rant right now, share a personal experience. Okay. You'd think that if Trophy Line, can build product, that like a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Ford Motor Company could build product, right? Well, I have had a truck. Ford came out with a new truck this year. Half the people, 75% of the people listening to this probably never even heard of it yet. There hasn't been a single commercial on TV. They don't need to advertise it. They can't build it. It's called the Maverick. It's a small pickup truck. It's like the size of what the Ranger was before the Ranger became what the Ranger is now. It's an awesome little truck because it gets decent fuel economy. It's like the size of the truck that you want for the 320 days a year that you don't really need a truck. You know what I mean? But it can still do some truck stuff. Anyway, long story short, I am one of many tens or hundreds of thousands of people waiting for my Maverick because Ford cannot build, so, and yet they keep on coming out with like new vehicles that they can't build. There's people who have been waiting 2 years or more, 2.5 years for a Bronco. Then there's people waiting for Mustang Mach-E's. There's people waiting for F-150 Lightnings. It's like, at some point, folks, the excitement wears off. And if you're holding some of my money and you can't like give me the widget, if there's anybody at Ford Motor Company who listens to this, build the widget, build the truck. If I want a Vanatic saddle, I can get one. Look, take a lesson from Trophy Line. Go to trophyline.com, get your Vanatic saddle. It'll be here in a couple of days. You'll be up the tree. You'll be killing velvet bucks in Kentucky with these guys in no time. I bet you $50 that I don't pull into the hunting camp in Kentucky in September with my Maverick.
That'd be a good bet, right? We're sitting here in July, right?
There's no way. I don't even have a VIN number. It's not scheduled for production. And actually, starting next month, all the 22 orders that are unfulfilled are going to be pretty well canceled out. I'm going to have to get in the 23 line. So I will not be seeing you unless I find one like at Alamo Car Rental or something. I will not be seeing you in a Ford Maverick, but I will be seeing you in the Vanatic Saddle, and that's far more important as far as I'm concerned. Those guys at FOMOCO can go hunt in some second-rate saddle this fall, but those of us who know how to get things done will be hunting Trophy Line and killing the big boys.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's what we'll say. We'll say, guys at Ford, they probably hunt in somebody else's saddle. I don't think they're really Trophy Line caliber. So anyway, thank you for giving me an opportunity to vent my personal frustrations here on today's show.
You're very welcome. But to that point, with every product we've released, we're, like Shawn said, we don't want to take somebody's money before we have something to actually send them. So you're never going to see a product for sale on our website that isn't in our warehouse and ready to go out to you. Just is the way it is. You know, this Vanatic Saddle, we had to launch it with just the medium large. We had a lot of people who were reaching out to us and said, we want this saddle for sale. When can I get this? So our large, extra large has been slightly delayed. So we could have turned that on too and taken people's money and told them there's delay in shipping, but that's just not how we want to function. So the second we get those in stock, they'll be for sale. And then we can start getting those orders in and getting the product out. But until that time happens, we're going to wait. And that's just how we're going to operate as a company. It's just what we're always going to do.
Well, that's another win for the non-big and tall guys like me. There's an advantage to being of average size, shall we say.
Well, the medium large still goes to 39. It's you know, the size of it.
We cap it officially at 38, but it can go a bit bigger. But you know, I myself am 36 to 38. Just depends on how many cheeseburgers I might have had the day before, and then you know, so I can fit in this and hunt totally fine. Our director of media, Evan, he's a 38 as well. He hunted with Shawn there in Canada 5 days straight. Completely forgot he even had the thing on. He made that comment multiple times. So you know, he's at the upper threshold for this and was still comfortable. And what we did actually, this Venatic is wider than the covert you were hunting out of. The intention there is to really just stretch it out and get these bridge loops all the way around people's hips, no matter what their body shape is, for that maximum waist size. And we think it's really worked out where you genuinely forget that you have the darn thing on as you're hunting.
Yeah, and for those folks who do need the larger one, you know, as we sit here in July, I would imagine you anticipate having those in plenty of time before the season.
Yeah, those will be in the first of August.
A couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks there we'll have them.
Gotcha.
Again, it's just a matter of them manufacturing enough so we can turn it on. You know,
Correct.
The last thing we want to do is, you know, get 10 and turn it on and then be out in, you know, a couple minutes. So we always
so people, you know, who want to get their hands on the Venatic, obviously can go to your website. What other opportunities, or, you know, do you guys offer any, you know, programs, guarantees, whatever people want to, you know, give one of these things a try? And what do you recommend?
Yeah, we got, you know, we do a 30-day money back guarantee. You know, we no questions asked. That's always worked well for us, especially for saddle hunting. It's always, you know, harder to guys want to touch and feel it, right, and try it. And you know, up until this year, we've all been direct to consumer, but we currently now have over 100 dealers nationwide. They don't have our Venatic yet. They do. The plan is to have some later this year at the dealers. They do have our Covert Light dealer kit, actually, that comes with a free back band at their place. So we got a lot of great retailers across the country that have built awesome displays to try saddles out, and everybody sends us pictures and we post them. And some guys can come up with some really cool ideas on how to test saddles out in their stores. And then we're doing dealer events, you know, and some of the total archery challenges and things like that across the country where people can come out and try and test out saddles before they buy. But if you don't have the ability to go to one of the dealers, you can, like I said, you can go to our website. We got 30-day money back guarantee. You know, the biggest thing too is you probably know, Christian, is you got to give it time. You know, you got, you know, throw it on for a couple minutes and, you know, hang from a telephone pole. You know, you really got to give it, you know, a couple of weeks worth of messing around and really testing it out, practice shooting your bow out of it. Because once you figure it out and get a routine down, you realize how good of a tool it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I was amazed, you know, just how comfortable I was in the saddle. And I mean that on a couple of levels, you know, not just in terms of the fact that it's comfortable, you know, to be up there on your platform, you know, supported by the saddle, but comfort in terms of being, you know, comfortable and confident and safe and secure, and just being able to do all the things that you need to do to be a successful bow hunter, you know, from getting up the tree and down the tree to maneuvering in the tree, making the shot and all that stuff. You know, again, saddle hunting is just one of those things where, to me, if you're a serious deer hunter, I don't care, what your favorite method is. Saddle is a tool that you ought to have in your toolbox. You wouldn't, carpenter, wouldn't go, to do a job without all the different, saws and awls and, fasteners and everything that he needs. And there's just going to be times and places where the saddle is going to be the best choice for getting the job done. And if you're not taking advantage of it, you're kind of just leaving a good asset, on the sideline that you could be putting to work for you. So yeah, anyone who's watching this, listening to this episode, if you haven't tried the saddle hunting, I'm sure, unless you're living under a rock, that this is like the thing right now. There's a big, I don't even want to say fad because it's not a fad, but there's definitely a craze for saddle hunting, and there's a reason for it. And people aren't going out, to Shawn's point, they're not going out and spending $300 on a saddle just so they can be like the coolest kid on their block and be like, hey, I got the new saddle. People are actually taking these things into the woods and they're killing deer with them because they're mobile. They're comfortable. They can hunt more variety of areas. They can use more variety of trees, and that there's a lot of reasons for it. So take advantage of all those opportunities. And you guys were talking about the dealers, and I actually, while Shawn was talking, went on, and so I was like, on your website, I just clicked over there now, and so like I found my local little mountain outfitters in Richland, PA. If you want, and there was two others, Lancaster Archery, which of course is huge. There was another one in the same area. So like, hey, in my area alone, there was at least 3 dealers. Get on the Trophy Line website, and if you want to even just have a chance, even if you want this new Vanatic saddle, like Shawn said, they probably have some of the other product that you can go and maybe try and just get a feel for this before you maybe place your order for this. So there's resources out there available.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's coming, it's definitely becoming more mainstream, right? It's definitely not a fad. People are realizing that it is a tool, at the end of the day. It's not an end all. But, and it takes up a lot less space than a bunch of tree stands, right? So you can have your backpack with your platform, your sticks, and your saddle, and, you can fit in your back seat, wherever.
Well, and for me, what one huge thing is, because, and I say this all the time in a lot of different contexts, I'm lazy at heart. I think everybody is, okay? But sure. My summers, this time of year, okay, July, August, these would be prime times where if I had spots, because we all, every year as you're hunting, we all make mental or physical notes about a few other new spots that we'd like to hunt. These would be the times that I'd be out there in this heat and humidity, sweating my what's off, right? Hanging on a lineman's belt, putting up climbing sticks or stick ladders and hang on stands. And I'd have to go and have a stand and a stick ladder for every single spot. Now, honestly, that saddle has given me freedom, whereas I'm like, you know what? I don't even have to waste my time. I don't have to waste my money. I don't need all that equipment that sits out in the field, year round. Because again, I'm lazy. I don't pull my stands every year that I have out there. I can just use my saddle. I can walk to any one of those spots in season, be up the tree in 15 minutes, and I'm ready to hunt. And as an added bonus, when I leave, everything leaves with me. So like that the next guy or whoever comes into that area, he doesn't know that I've hunted there. He doesn't have a stand to go and sit in that I put up for him. Oh, aren't I a nice guy when I'm not there? So I save myself time and effort now, preseason, and I'm actually a more stealthy, hunter in season, and I don't feel, and the other thing is you're not tied to the spot. When you have 3 stands, say on a given farm, you feel like, hey, I got to go hunt one of those 3 stands. And if you're in the saddle, you're like, no, I don't have to go I got to go up a tree no matter where I go. I can go up this tree, or I can go up another tree 100 yards further. And oh, by the way, that's where I saw all the deer yesterday. So I'm just going to go on that tree 100 yards away because it's no more or less work. But it's going to be a better hunt.
Exactly.
It's really nice because it just takes the stress away, especially on public land. Even if you take a mobile setup in, you don't have to worry about, is there the appropriate tree for me to use this other mobile system in? For me, as long as the tree is bigger than 4 inches in diameter and alive, I can hunt out of it. So it's just, I have no stress going into any new property because I know I'm going to be able to get in this setup to get on the activity that's currently hot on that property.
So, well, listen, guys, it was a great conversation today. Congratulations on the culmination of 18 months, basically, of planning, research, development, refinement, come out with this Vanatic saddle. I'm sure you're already getting a great response to this. And, I'm going to see a lot of people running around in the Vanatics this fall out there in the deer woods.
Good. Yeah, thanks for having us on. We're always appreciative. We always have a good time coming here. So thanks again.
Well, and I want to get, I got to make a point here in the very near future to get out with this saddle, even if it's just in my yard here, and like have one of my kids hold my phone and get on Facebook Live or whatever on the Peterson's Bowhunting page and just show it off a little bit. Maybe go up a tree and talk a little bit about it because it's something people are going to be interested in. So again, thanks again, Shawn. I owe you 1 hour of additional vacation time, and I'll try to do my best to make it up to you.
Good, appreciate it.
All right. And Nick, I look forward to seeing you down in Kentucky, both of you guys soon. And if it's okay with me, if you want to hunt the biggest buck that they have in camp, just put me on something halfway decent, okay?
We can do that. I had the longest shot last year, so you got to beat me on that at least.
All right. Well, I'm a top pin kind of guy. I like closer is better, so.
Exactly.
Thanks for downloading the Peterson's Bowhunting Podcast. All bow hunting, all the time. Pick up the latest issue of Peterson's Bowhunting magazine on your local newsstand, or connect with us online at bowhuntingmag.com.